What's up, guys? Welcome back to JodabeniTV. Today's another amazing day to get after. We're gonna be better today than we were yesterday. And for today's episode, we're gonna be looking over how can you be part of the MLS Super Draft. So the MLS draft is very similar to the NBA draft and the NFL draft. The only difference is here we're focused on soccer play. The main goal of the MLS draft is so that MLS teams can find one of the best collegiate players to add values to their soccer teams. And not only that, it's a way where the MLS teams that didn't do their best could get the best players before anybody else. This way there's a fairness around all the teams. So before you can even be part of the MLS Super Draft, you may want to know how it works in the first place. So we're going to look over that. So pretty much, how does the MLS Super Draft work? So if you're trying to play collegiately and you're not too sure, I have several videos up already that may help you on your journey. And also one of my teammates who did receive a full ride here at UCRGV, he just made this video just showing his whole process, so maybe you can learn from me. I'm gonna link it down in the description box below so you guys can check it out, and maybe you might gain some insight on what he did to get his full ride to UCRGV. So now let's see about the MLS Super Draft. There are 4 rounds in total for the draft, and each team gets 1 pick per round. But since the MLS is made so that it can help the worst teams of the past season get some of the best players, the picks go in reverse order. By this, I mean, if you ended up winning the MLS championship, you would actually get the very last pick of the playoff Super Draft. And the reason behind this is actually pretty simple. This allows teams that aren't doing very well a chance to get somebody who can increase their level of competition, so maybe the next following season they can win something. And it won't be too easy for the teams that have already won the championship, but now they're facing new players that have, new teams that have better players on their squads. For an example, if Houston Dynamo came in last place and the 2021 draft was coming around, they would actually be the first one to select any player they wanted. And let's say LA Galaxy actually came in first, they would get the very last pick. They'd wait till everybody went, and then they would get to choose their players. So the selection rules for the MLS actually goes like this. So the first teams who get the very first picks are expansion teams. Meaning if there's new teams that have been added to the MLS league and the draft comes around, they actually get first pick because they're a brand new team. A lot of their players they're gonna be getting are gonna be, it's gonna be scrambled together. And they have the opportunity to get some of the best players from the NCAA D1 schools and D2s and actually add them to their squads. So whenever they actually start competing, they're pretty much gonna have a much more fair chance of succeeding. And second, after you have all your expansion teams do their picks, you're pretty much gonna have all the teams that didn't make the playoffs. So all the non-playoff teams will get their chance to select their players. And the order for the non-playoff teams pretty much goes from the first one that got knocked out all the way to those who came close to making it to the playoffs. And after the non-playoff teams, the teams that actually made it to the playoffs, they now have the opportunity to select their players. And the order remains the same. The first one to get knocked out of the playoffs gets the chance to select a player. And it all builds up all the way to the person who won the whole championship. Then they get the very last pick. So pretty much the team who came number 1 gets the 4 last picks on whatever players they want. So maybe you're wondering, why is it this way? For an example, let's look at Bayern. They pretty much have a monopoly in their league pretty much. They keep getting all the best players that come out, they buy them, and they just keep winning back and back and back to back. Some people enjoy it because they support that team and they're always winning. And then there's other people who are like, it's not fun anymore to watch because we already know they're gonna win. But the MLS does this so that one team can't necessarily be the top player over and over and over again. But if they want to, get good players, they may have to get them from overseas or actually buy them out of the transfer market, but they won't necessarily take them out of the MLS Super Draft. Now that we've covered the basics of the MLS Super Draft, so now who can be part of the draft? Can just anybody be a part of it? Is it only college players? Who can join the draft? So yes, a majority of the players that actually go into the MLS draft do come from universities and colleges. A majority of the players are players who are already exhausted their NCAA eligibility to play in the university, so they can no longer play in the university, because once you enter the draft, you're no longer allowed to play collegiately. So a lot of players like to wait all the way to the end. Once they can't play anymore, then they go into it. But then you've heard stories of, certain basketball players or NFL players who go into their draft mid through their collegiate career just so they can become professionals. So besides collegiate players, the other people who are eligible to actually be in the MLS drafts are 1, Generation Adidas players, and 2, non-collegiate international players. So for players to be even considered, a lot of the times, players can't just apply and, willingly go into the draft. So it works like this. A lot of the players played throughout the season, and then all the head coaches, for example, I play in the WAC. And let's say at the end of the season, all the coaches will get a vote on which players they vote on sending to the MLS draft to get, their chance to get selected by one of the MLS teams. So other than the players that are selected by the conference coaches, actual MLS teams can actually request for these players to be entered into the draft so they can select them. So pretty much you have all these players that are invited by MLS teams and scouts, and then you have players who coaches voted on, and then they're all put together into this draft as a whole. So the draft isn't necessarily something we as players have control over. The best thing you can do is just put in all you can on the field and try your best to impress the coaches, and hopefully by the end of the semester or by the end of your NCAA collegiate career, you're gonna have all these coaches who are gonna vouch for you, or have MLS teams and scouts who are actually wanting you to come be a part of their team. So if anything, it seems like to me that you have to build your connections, and the better connections you get, the higher of your chances will be for you to be selected to be part of the MLS draft. And by all means, I hope you are one of those who do get selected to be part of it, because I bet it's an amazing experience to be a part of. But most of the players you're actually gonna see on the MLS draft are previously invited to the MLS Showcase, which is held around the period of December or January of each year. They usually select approximately around 40 players, and then, they pay for everything, their flight, and they go. And I've never personally been to the showcase, so I don't know exactly what they do, but they do all the testing, the plays, and there's a bunch of MLS coaches, scouts, agents. They're all watching all these kids play, and then they make note, and then when the MLS draft comes around, then they're gonna start choosing players from that actual showcase. So let's say you actually got selected with the MLS team. So what happens next? Are you immediately a professional, or is there other steps you need to take? So first things first, once a player is actually signed onto a team, it's not the pro contract that they're signing. It's actually an agreement where they're gonna go and train with the team for maybe 2 weeks, or however long the MLS team will allow you to train with them. And then after that, the MLS team will either accept you onto their squad or decline you. But that's not the end of it. You may have a chance to even be signed with the actual MLS's USL squad, which will give you another opportunity to grind it out and then earn your way back onto the MLS squad. For an example, when we took a look at the 2019 draft, over 76 players got selected and only 26 of them remained onto the MLS team. So that's a large number of players that, just got completely dropped. So, even if you don't make the MLS draft, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. There's other pathways we can join a team, work your way up, and get to the MLS, because not everybody is ready for that high intensity. And I don't think anybody who didn't make the MLS squad should be discouraged, because maybe at the current moment, the team doesn't need your specific abilities. And maybe in the long term, they're gonna need you. That's why they put you on the USL squad. So once you were picked by an MLS team, no other team can choose you until after December 31st, after the draft happens. So if the draft happened this year in January and I was picked off, and let's say, the MLS team didn't need me for that particular season, they have the option to sign me all the way till December 31st. You're pretty much placed on the college protected list, meaning that MLS team has all the rights to you for that current year until December 31st, and you become a free agent and you can join any other team that actually may need your specific abilities. Because if another MLS team wanted to choose you and they couldn't because somebody else had the first pick, if they don't want you and the other team still wants you, once that time period is over, they're gonna be calling you really quick so they can add you onto their squad. So I know there's a lot of collegiate players and players who are trying to play college in the USA, who are trying to make it into the MLS or even farther. And I just put all this together so that a lot of you guys can understand what's going to be happening after your college career or when you come to the end of it. So if you guys, watch this and you enjoyed it and you think you learned something new, be sure to share it to all your friends that may have questions about the MLS Super Draft. And I hope all of you guys who are aiming for reach your goals and sign the best deal that you can. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. JodabeniTV is out.
I can feel my face, but nothing really cannot stop me till I fall.